Hey everyone, welcome back to Viking Spin. I'm your host Jason, and today we're going to do our sixth version of the mock draft. We've done some of these before, but this one we've done from Fanspeak. I've been doing some mock drafts on websites like firstpick.com and fanspeak.com to get an idea of what the draft board might look like when the Vikings come to draft, and these are draft simulation sites. I found that the most realistic one is Fanspeak, and when you use the CBS Big Board as the draft board, and then it also matches you have the Fanspeak team needs assessments that prioritize what each individual team needs and what they might pick in the drafts. So I did that. I put it on a difficult level to make it the most challenging I could for myself, and here's what I came out with. In the second round, I waited till our name was called, and then Dion Dawkins was on the board, and I took him at pick 16 in the second round. Dion Dawkins is a guy that will come in, plug and play right away at right guard for the Vikings, and he also has the versatility to play tackle. He played both guard and tackle in college, so he's an athletic guard. He'll be able to do things like pull for the Vikings, and of course he can play tackle in a pinch if there was ever an injury. So then that would solidify the offensive line, and now we've got our 5 starters. Reef and Remmers at the tackle spots, Joe Berger at center, and then the guards would be Alex Boone and now Dion Dawkins. So then in the third round, before I pick at the 15th pick of the third round, I get a trade offer from the New York Giants to move down 8 spots, and they will give me pick 23 in the third, 8 spots down, plus they have a comp pick in the fourth round, the 33rd selection of the fourth round. So I move down 8 spots and pick up an extra 4th round pick. So then my next pick is my original, one of my original thirds, the 22nd overall. In the third, I pick Marcus May at safety, and that gives us finally that plus starter that we need next to Harrison Smith, and that's going to allow him to come up and play on the line of scrimmage a lot more often. And May is more than capable of handling the single high responsibilities. So we not only improve the starting safety spot next to Smith, but now Andrew Sendejo becomes a quality depth safety. Because as we know, last year when we had Smith nicked up and then even Sendejo missed some time as well, the drop off to the safeties behind them with Jaron Curse and Anthony Harris was pretty significant. So this turns what was a thin position group behind the starters into a deep one with the addition of May. And then in the third round, to the pick that I moved down to from the Giants, at running back, Wayne Gallman. Wayne Gallman is a lot like Latavius Murray, who's our starter that we got in free agency. Of course, Murray is able to do a lot of things well in the running game, the receiving game, and the pass blocking game at running back, and Gallman is a lot like him. He runs well, he can catch, he can pass block, and he's especially good in short yardage. In college, he was very effective on second efforts around the goal line, which is an area the Vikings are looking to improve. And then Gallman also has enough short area burst to get to the corner on the outside runs. He's a tough one-cut runner, and he looked like a quality pick there for the Vikings. I also like Donta Foreman there, but he was off the board at that point, so I went with what I thought was the next best thing in Gallman. And then in the fourth round, first selection of the fourth round, 13th overall in the fourth, Jaron Jones, a defensive tackle. 6'6", 316-pound defensive tackle out of Notre Dame. He bats a lot of balls down at the line of scrimmage. He also had a pair of block kicks on special teams in college his last season, and he's, in my opinion, he's the early down three technique that we need next to Linval Joseph, because of course we don't know if Sharif Floyd will ever play again. Other players that we have there, Tom Johnson is 32, so we'll probably have him for this year, but it's unknown whether he'll be with us next year. Dayton Jones is a defensive end that's going to probably play some three technique, but that's going to be more on passing downs. So Jones fills the void there on the early downs. And I think a guy like this, our defensive line coaches are among the best in the business here with the Vikings, and this is a guy with a lot of talent that I think they can work with. We've seen what they've been able to do with Danielle Hunter and Everson Griffin, so I have no doubt that they'll be able to do good things with a guy like Jaron Jones. And then the next pick in the fourth round, D.D. Westbrook. D.D. Westbrook is a wide receiver who is also a kick returner, and that void is open, of course, with Cordell Patterson going to the Raiders. But with Westbrook, he not only gives you a dynamic kick returner, but he also gives you an accomplished receiver. He's a good route runner, not afraid to go over the middle, but what his best attribute is his speed. He can absolutely take the top off of the defense. Mike Zimmer has been looking, he wants to get field stretching receivers. Well, this is a field stretcher right there. He's not really a red zone guy. He's only 6 feet and he's under 200 pounds, but he's a guy that's going to make a lot of big plays between the 20s and open things up for guys like Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, and Kyle Rudolph, and give Sam Bradford another option to take some pressure off of those other targets. And then with the next pick there that I had, the extra pick I got from the Giants in the trade down, I take a guy the Vikings have been paying a lot of attention to in the pre-draft process. He's been in for a personal visit, and that's Elijah Lee, the outside linebacker that would come in and take over for Chad Greenway at the will spot. Lee is probably among the best cover linebackers in this draft. 6'3", 227 pounds. He's got sideline-to-sideline speed against the run, but he's really, really good in coverage. So he could even be a guy, if the Vikings needed him in the nickel. I know they usually run with Anthony Barr and Eric Kendricks, but if they ever needed Lee to step in for any reason in the nickel, he's a guy that can do it. And it also addresses, an immediate need at that will spot with Greenway's retirement. And I also think Lee would be a player that would do well on special teams too. And then in the fifth round, I have the Vikings going with George Kittle at tight end. Now Kittle had the third best 40 time of all tight ends. Only Evan Ingram and O.J. Howard were faster. So his speed was, his 40-yard dash was 4.52, which is very fast for a tight end. So he's a seam buster. He was asked to do some blocking too at Iowa, so he's a decent blocker. But I think he's going to make his mark in the NFL as a pass catcher. So that gives Vikings another nice option to go along with Kyle Rudolph and David Morgan. So it rounds out that position group nicely. And then in the sixth round, not a need pick here necessarily, but really good value. Zane Gonzalez with the 15th pick of the sixth round, a kicker. He's the best kicker in the draft. So if you're going to draft one, it's going to be him. He would be able to come in and compete with Kai Forbath, who I think is also a good kicker. Gonzalez has a really strong leg. He was 7 of 9 from 50 plus his last season in college. So he's got he's got a booming leg. They're good on kickoffs as well. And you can have him compete with Forbath, and I think they have another player on the roster as well, Kane. You've got three guys competing for the kicking job. Let the best man win, and you're going to come out of camp with a really quality player at the kicker spot. And then rounding out the draft picks, the 14th selection of the 7th round, I have the Vikings going with Jerry Ogakwe, an offensive tackle, 6'7", physical specimen, but a developmental prospect at this time. Somebody the Vikings could probably put on their practice squad. If you notice, last season they got a guy off of Jacksonville's practice squad, Rashad Hill, and he started the last game at left tackle for the Vikings against the Chicago Bears and looked pretty good. So at this point he's slated to be the swing tackle, but he's someone who was a former 7th round pick that had to develop on a practice squad, but is now showing some promise, and I think he'll get a similar type of development out of Ogakwe. Now, with all of that being said, I also did some post-draft free agency. So we know the Vikings have made moves in the earlier waves of free agency with Riley Reif and Mike Remmers at the tackle spots. We've got Latavius Murray at running back. Dayton Jones signed as a defensive end / defensive tackle. And we also got Case Keenum as a backup quarterback to Sam Bradford, and signed the punter John Quigley. But there's still a few areas that we could shore up, and we'll have some space to do that. Especially, I think, if the Vikings restructure Sam Bradford's contract, they can save some space on the 2017 hit if they give him an extension. And even if they also extend Xavier Rhodes, if they're smart with that and do it with signing bonus, they can free up some more space. I did some some magic there on overthecap.com's calculator for the Vikings, and these moves, they made sense to me. So the first move that I was making there signed Austin Pastor, who is an offensive tackle who also has the ability to play guard. He's 26. He was with the Vikings earlier in his career, but he's been with the Cleveland Browns lately. And he's a guy that could be your swing tackle right away. So, you've got Reif and Remmers. You have a developmental guy in Hill. But if you needed someone to come in and play, Pastor's the guy that can get you some quality play there as a backup, and he's only 26 years old, so he still has room to grow as a player as well. But this is a guy that's got some experience and would not be terrible if God forbid, we have another injury at tackle like we did last season. So that would be some smart insurance to get there. Also have the Vikings, if it were me in free agency, I would go and get Leon Hall at cornerback. Just in case Mackenzie Alexander is not ready to play 70% of the snaps in a nickel, you got Leon Hall. Hall can play the nickel right away. He's got experience there. He's also experienced of playing outside corner and safety, so he's got a lot of value. The biggest part of his value is he already knows Mike Zimmer's defense from all the years that he spent with the Bengals. So he's a guy that could come in and help the Vikings right away. And then I also have the Vikings, they've shown interest in him already. It's Rod Streeter, wide receiver. You draft a guy like D.D. Westbrook. I think he's going to be a better overall receiver than Cordero Patterson, but is still a rookie receiver. And in their first year, sometimes they're not ready to be, a number 3 option. Maybe he'll be a number 4 option in his rookie season. But Streeter's a guy that can come in and play right away. He can help you in all kinds of different ways between the 20s. He's very fast. 6'3", can also help you in the red zone, and he's experienced, so he's going to run good routes. And that would pretty much wrap it up. Maybe you look at a guy like Hankins if he can make it work with the cap, but that all depends. But that's all I got. Thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time.